What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are returning to the fabulous Shin Matsunaga. Last time, the Battle of Loon took place. Shin convinced Dozel to lead from his ship and not from his mobile suit. He also sells out his nation for a little girl, and he helps Ramba Rao take down a coup, but they lose Revel, who was a POW. This time, Shin will transfer to Kycilia's space attack force on Granada. He and Rao will go up against the Black Tristars, and Shin meets an old Fetty friend. So let's get into this. Zeon is attacking a mass driver system near Granada on the moon. They attack with Kuis and the Lunar tank. The G-87 Lunar tank is a giant defense and battery unit. Only 34 of the planned 50 units were produced. One of these units were used to test the leader for the Valwallo. This led to the creation of the Adsum. Weapons include 8 two-barrel cannons, a large front cannon, and the plasma leader. This gives Kycilia direct access to Earth from Zeon territory, even though this was done by Kycilia of the Mobile Attack Force. This is considered the first win for the Earth Attack Force. Garma tells Shin that he watched him and Dozel on the battlefield. It reminded him of when the two used to fight at school. He understands that the Revel incident isn't Shin's fault. They played into the Federation's hands. But Zeon High Command demands someone be held accountable. The zombies are playing full politics at this point, and some are trying to throw Shin under the bus. Garma suggests that he leave Dozel's command and transfer under Kycilia's space attack force. Shin would rather stay a prisoner. He tells Shin that this was a suggestion by Dozel. This is the best outcome for Shin, and he could still serve Dozel from afar. Garma is heading to Earth to lead the Earth attack force. He hopes that he and Dozel can hang out after all this is over. Quick, cut to Garma on fire! Shin makes his way towards Granada. In the future, Shin is also at Granada with Aurelia. Zeon is conducting training exercises. A part of these exercises are the Black Tristars, Kycilia's 3 bestest of boys. They were testing the Zaku 2 Commander type, or S-type. MASH hits on a subordinate while Ortega notices Shin Matsunaga's white mobile suit. Something crashes into the ocean in Central Asia near Baikonur Base. Commander Joaquin is informing GOP that their forces are inefficient against the bombardment from the mass driver offensive on the moon. GOP knows that Zeon is planning an Earth assault. They're going to have to give up ground, but they can't let them get to Jaburo. Joaquin is ready to crash Luna 2 on the moon. GOP says it's too early for that. Of course, we have seen Joaquin attempt this plan in GUNPLA. GOP isn't really giving any other options, however. Admiral Tiamin says that he is ready to throw it all away. He will need some volunteers. That is when Paolo Cassius comes in. The future White Base captain has a strategy. Shin doesn't seem to be wanted on the moon. Ortega comes into the bar and punches Shin. He ruined their glory. Remember, the Black Tristars are the ones who captured Revel during the Battle of Loon. We got ourselves a brawl. MASH pulls out a knife, but is stopped by Ramba Rao. He says they will have to fight him as well. Elliot Rim comes in and says, "Gentlemen, gentlemen, gentlemen, you know what we must do to solve this? Mobile suit duel!" Olga, the subordinate that MASH hit on, fights with Shin and Rao to make it a 3v3. They make it a public mock battle 2 days from now. Ramba Rao is mad that Elliot got involved. It would have been easier to just brawl. He thinks this should be fought with mobile suits. He goes into a diatribe about Dr. Manovsky and the advancement in AMBAC system technologies. This allowed Zeonic to create the MS-01 Crabman. The ZIX-A3 Crabman, also designated the MS-01, is the first mobile suit. Giranzabi allows for the production of Zeonic's Crabman, along with MIP's X-1, which essentially evolves into Bigro. This is the first time an AMBAC system and manipulators were combined to result in a 10-meter tall humanoid machine. When Giranzabi was shown this mobile suit, it brought him to laughter. It wasn't until the MS-04 that things started to see progress. Elliot then tells Shin the story of the EMS-04 made by Zemad, better known as Zuda. He tells him of the test which led to the mobile suit disintegrating. The Zuda is the reason cooling pipes are on the outside of the mobile suit on the Zaku 2. Elliot quizzes Olga and asks her if she knows why the C-type Zaku has a shield on its right shoulder. It's because it's designed to deflect ballistics and anti-air attacks. The angle of the slope of the shield is over-engineered to ensure debris rolls off the unit. They are now focusing on the F-type for space and the J-type for the upcoming ground invasion. Elliot believes the current Zaku feels like it is being held back. Shin is using the FS-type, but the 3 Black Tristars are using the S-types. Elliot wants Shin to use a special unit. This is the R-type. The MSO6R-1 Zaku 2 High Mobility Test Type is the first of the high mobility test types. Small leg thrusters are added in the legs, and the fuel tanks are moved to the torso and legs. This is a complete redesign of the Zaku 2, but they use the F-type as a base. Weapons include a shoulder shield, a 120mm machine gun, a Zaku bazooka, the 360mm giant bazooka, a heat hawk, and cracker grenades. This is different from the R1A seen in Origin. By this time, Dr. Minovsky defected to the Federation already. They may lose their edge. Elliot says he met a man named Tim Ray years ago, who seemed to be the only one on the Federation side thinking about mobile suits. With Paolo Cassius is Toya Shiranagi, who had contact with Shin. Paolo and Toya will begin their operation on the moon once Mas Khan is finished with adjustments. This is the Mas Khan that will go on to create the magnetic coating for the Gundam. On Side 3, an Obasan of the Matsunaga family is tasked with looking over Aurelia while Shin is away. She is still bearing the burden of getting Shin in trouble. She tries to cheer up Aurelia by making dishes that the young Shin used to eat. We flash back to a gala event. Zeon Daikum and his children are in attendance. Rumors are spreading that his children were born from his mistress, and not his wife, who is currently sick. Master Matsunaga introduces Shin to Toya. He shows him around. Toya is enamored by colonies, as he has never seen anything like it. The kids wonder if Earth and Side 3 will become enemies. They get along quickly. Aurelia asks Obasan if she deserves to be here. She says that is entirely your choice to make. She can't make it for her. In the past, Toya and Shin talk about wanting to become wolves. Back on the moon, Shin and Ral have a sparring session. Shin tries and fails at a surprise attack on Ral. Elliot tells Olga that besides the Black Tri-Stars, Ramba Ral probably has the most experience in a mobile suit. Ral tells Shin to make better use of his mobility. The modified Zaku 1 is inferior, but Ral squeezes the most performance possible out of a machine. Shin can push himself further with the R-Type. The battle switches to melee. They end up sumo wrestling. Suddenly, Shin flies off. His controls aren't working. Something is wrong. Elliot and Olga chase after them. He doesn't want Shin to blow up like the Zuda. His mobile suit is heading towards Air City. This is the same Air City we see 9 years later in Gundam Sentinel. Aurelia heads to class. Afterwards, they see a fleet on the move. This is the Earth Attack Force heading to Earth. The Zaku crashes. Shin is safe. He gets out of his mobile suit where he is met with Air City's militia. At Air City, Toya meets with the city's militia, and they tell him that they found a Zeon soldier. Toya never would have thought it would be Shin. Elliot informs Lady Kycilia of the delays in testing due to losing Shin. She says if he can't deliver, he will be dismissed. Ral meets with the Black Tri-Stars. His team bailed on him. Ral thinks he could take them on his own. Shin finally makes his appearance. Elliot put limiters on the R-Type to prevent accidents from happening again. Also, an additional vernier has been added. Meeting with Toya, he tells Elliot that EFF is probably about to mobilize. The mock battle begins. Olga overextends. Shin tells her to use the terrain to her advantage. Ortega corners Ral. While fighting, Shin flashes back. He tells Toya that he is joining the military. Gaia attacks Shin while spacing out. The Black Tri-Stars prepare to use the jet stream attack. While the mock battle is happening, Kycilia gets word of an attack on a MASH driver system. A long-range bombardment takes out Lunar tanks. As Gaia, Ortega, and MASH execute the jet stream attack, Shin takes off his limiters. He rushes in to attack, but his legs were hit. They rush all three for a second jet stream attack. Out near Loom, a Zeon fleet is scouting when they are attacked. It happens to be a giant beam cannon, similar to Zeon's Jotunheim. The weapon is under control of a young Jamaicon. He is under Paolo Cassius's command, and he doesn't like that this giant cannon is in the alpha stages. Jamaicon is already dismissing collateral damage. He hasn't evolved into full fascist just yet though. Their next target is the MASH driver system at Mare Imbrium. They fire the weapon. They are firing from Side 5 to the moon, so it takes a few hours to hit its target. Toya doesn't seem to like Jaburo Command, which is Paolo and Jamaicon's team. Elliot cancels the mock battle and informs them of the bombardment currently happening. They are heading into battle. Ortega is still holding a huge grudge. Kycilia gets intel that they are using some sort of railgun. The Granada fleet is moving in to handle the Fetties. Mei Kao-Wen is helping Zeon's forces. She reminds Shin of Aurelia. Mei shows up in Lost War Chronicles and Space to the end of a flash. He finds it weird that a young person is fighting a war, and her family were Daikum loyalists like his family. Ral, Shin, and Olga launch. The Black Tri-Stars tell them not to get in their way. They all move in to attack. Olga runs support while the rest move in and take action. She just watches. They don't even need her as they attack the fleet. And that will do it for this episode. Shin seems to find himself in the middle of people trying to make political moves. We will see in the future that he will also have to play politics when it comes to the R-Type. Next time, the battle will continue. Shin will face off against Toya, and Mokuve tries to get Shin to lie about the performance of the R-Type. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, honor is a tool used to manipulate noble people into committing war crimes. Peace.